In this demo, I will show you how deployment works on Kubernetes. In my Kubernetes course from my GitHub repository, I have deployment helloworld.yaml. And this is the file that I showed you during the theory. Now I'm going to create this deployment on my local Kubernetes cluster. Deployment hello world deployment created. Let's try kubectl get deployments. Deployments. I asked for 3 replicas. So my desired state was 3 replicas and the current state is 3 replicas, which means that it already launched these 3 replicas. All the replicas are up to date. They are running the version Kubernetes demo latest version that I asked to run, and they are also available. So they are running for a minimum amount of seconds, which means I should be able to connect to them. I can also get the replica sets. So this is the replica set that has been created for this deployment. So you don't need to create those replica sets yourself. Kubernetes does it for you. I can also do get pods to see the pods. These are 3 pods. And I can also say show labels. And then you see the label. So I said that my label should be app hello world. So you see here app hello world is the label for this pod. It also has a pod template hash, which is automatically generated. I can also ask the rollout status of this deployment, hello world deployment, and it is successfully rolled out. We didn't really need to enter this command because we could have seen this information using the get deployments. But this is just another way to see if our app is deployed. If I log in to hubdocker.com, then I also pushed earlier a newer version with tag number 2. So not with tag latest, which is automatically added if you don't specify a tag, but with tag number 2. This is a different version and it is going to say hello world v2 when I would launch this app. So what I'm going to show you is how to change the version of this first version to version 2 and then back to the old version. Let's first check what the app would give back if you would connect to it right now. To do this, we have to run kubectl expose again. We're going to expose the deployment, and the deployment is going to be the hello world deployment. And the type is going to be a node port. Like we want a static port automatically assigned that we can connect to. This expose command created a service for us. So let's do get service. And now we can see that there has been a service created. So let's describe this service. Hello world deployment. So we see that port 31969 has been opened as a node port for this service so we can connect to our app. Minikube service hello world deployment URL is going to give us the URL of our Minikube cluster. It's going to be the IP that we can use and the port that has been exposed here. The internal IP addresses of Kubernetes are different than the external IP address that we can connect to. So we're going to go to this URL. I'm going to use curl. It gives us hello world. So let's now change this version. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set a new image. I'm going to do kubectl set image of deployment / hello world deployment, and my image, I'm going to change my Kubernetes demo image into my new Kubernetes demo version 2. So we're going to change the Kubernetes demo that was tagged with latest because we didn't provide a tag. So it's going to be latest with the tag number 2. And this now says image updated. We can now follow this rollout status using this command. And it is already successfully rolled out. So if we then curl again to this URL, we see hello world v2. So our image is now updated, and it actually updated all our running pods because we have multiple we have multiple pods running. So you see 3 of them have been terminated, 3 of them have been started again with this v2 version. Let's say that I want to see the history, kubectl rollout history. So I see revision 1 and revision 2. You don't see any change cause because when we did the kubectl create -f of this, we could have added record, and this record would then also show changes right here. Haven't used this, so that's the reason why it shows none. So we're not really happy with this version 2. I rather want to see hello world without the 2. So let's undo this deployment. So I'm going to do kubectl rollout undo and then the name of our deployment. So now it's rolling back. Successfully rolled out again. It goes very quick because those images are still on file. Again, 3 new containers. And then if I curl, it's back to hello world. So this way you can easily change your versions from one application version to another application version and very quickly do rollbacks if necessary. Let's say that I want to go back to another revision, and the revision is already a long time ago. That's also possible, but by default it only keeps 2 revisions. So we would have to edit, kubectl edit can do that, our deployment object, and we would have to change this limit parameter. So this is our object. We can just make some changes here. And the change that I'm going to make is I'm going to set a revision history limit of 100. I edited this, and now let's do another rollout. Let's go back to number 2. Let's check our history again. And now that we made a few changes, you can see that our history is getting longer. So here I have my 3 revisions. And then if I want to go to another revision, I can say to revision number 3, for instance. And then it is actually rolling back to revision 3, which becomes a new revision because now I'm at 6. Using the undo and to revision can just let you jump to any revision that you want. And I have no idea anymore on what version we are, but we are back on the original version. Deployment objects are the objects that you want to create when you are deploying your applications. You can also use a replica set or the replication controller, but those are just too abstract. Deployment is going to be the way that you want to put your app on Kubernetes. And then you can manage the lifecycle of your app much better using the rollbacks and the rollouts and so on. In the next couple of lectures, we will see some more details about the labels and about health checks, and also how health checks can then improve the resiliency of your app.